So, the world of HR is right on the edge of this massive AI driven transformation. But let's be real, what does that actually mean for your company? Well, in the next few minutes, we're going to break down a really clear strategic framework to help you navigate this whole AI revolution. This quote comes from a top HR leader at a huge global company, and it's just so brutally honest. If you've been feeling a little lost in the constant flood of AI hype, hey, you are definitely not alone. There's this massive sense of uncertainty out there, and it's time we just tackled it head on. All that uncertainty really boils down to this one critical question for every single company. And here's a spoiler alert, the answer is not just about buying some new piece of software. Nope, this is about a complete reimagining of what HR even is and what it does. Okay, let's start with the first big shift, HR's new mandate. For decades, HR was often seen as, a support function. That era is over. In the age of AI, HR absolutely has to step up and become a co-leader, driving the company's transformation right from the front lines. But here's the reality check. There's this huge gap between where companies want to be and where they actually are. I mean, look at this. A staggering 91% admit they're not ready to build the kind of culture needed for AI to really succeed. Think about that for a second. That's basically 9 out of every 10 companies feeling unprepared for what's coming. And this right here gets to the very heart of the problem. It's not about the tech, it's about the people. The real challenge is shifting the company's entire mindset, how it works, how it makes decisions, and really how it thinks about its own employees. This focus on culture leads us right into our second point, redesigning the workforce of tomorrow. When AI starts saving us huge amounts of time and energy, what do we do with that gain? Seriously, that single question is probably going to define the next decade of work. So basically, companies have 3 choices. The first, extraction, that's the easy way out. Cut costs, maybe lay people off. The second, amplification, is just doing more of the same stuff, but faster. But the third path, reinvestment, now that is where the magic happens. This is all about using that new capacity to empower people to innovate, to create totally new forms of value. And this whole reinvestment idea, it forces us to ask a pretty radical question. Are we actually watching the last generation of all human teams? The entire concept of management is about to flip, moving from just counting heads to cultivating skills. Leaders are going to have to learn how to manage a hybrid workforce of people and AI. And if you think this is all just science fiction, think again. A recent analysis put the hourly operational cost of a humanoid robot at just $16. This isn't some futuristic fantasy anymore. It's a budget line item. These are real, strategic decisions that are being made right now. So if the workforce is changing this dramatically, it's pretty obvious HR itself has to change too. The old, rigid structures that were built for a totally different era, they simply can't keep up in this new fluid world of work. This really means it's time to break down the old walls. Forget the isolated silos of recruiting here, onboarding there, and performance somewhere else. The future is about creating integrated, cross-functional teams that own the entire employee journey, from their very first interview to their last day and even beyond. But here's a critical warning. Don't let tech vendors define your journey for you. Your AI strategy has to start with your company's unique business problems, not with a vendor's shiny new tool. You gotta start with the why, not the what. And to make any of this happen, HR professionals need a powerful new skill, AI fluency. And this is way more than just knowing which buttons to press. It's about deeply understanding how to use, manage, and govern AI responsibly to create real, tangible business value. Okay, I know this all sounds great in theory, but it can feel, overwhelming. Like, where do you actually start? So let's break it down into 4 really clear principles that can guide your action plan. First up, lead with courage. You have to step up, even when you don't have all the answers. Second, humanize the revolution. Always put your people at the absolute center of your strategy. Third, build adaptability into the very DNA of your organization so it can thrive on change. And finally, redefine leadership. You've got to equip your managers with the new skills they're going to need for this future of blended human AI teams. So, we'll leave you with this. The AI revolution isn't something you can just opt out of. That change, it's inevitable. But progress? Well, progress is a choice. Choosing to use this moment to build a better, more human-centric future for your business, that is a decision you have to make. So, what choice will you make?